just lay it out there for what it is. I looked up every third string quarterback in the league. They make between like 800 grand and $1.5 million. He's got the fifth highest cap figure on the entire team, making $9 million. Darnold's got the 12th highest cap figure on the team. He makes $5 million. So one of those guys is going to be QB3 if Purdy's the starter. So the Niners will be paying their third string quarterback either 5 times what the other teams are in the league or 9 times what the other teams are in the league.
Follow the money, Larry.
But I don't think it really, I don't know though. I don't think it really bothers them because they know they're paying Purdy 800 grand and it's locked in. Yeah, for now. But I mean, I don't want to give up on Trey Lance. I mean, you've gone this far. We've gone this far and he hasn't played. But you know what? I don't blame him for not playing because he's gotten hurt. They redshirted him and he's raw. But I would blame the Niners if they give up on him at the end of the year and be like, you know what? I mean, I had a guy on this week who believes that they're going to move off of him at the cutdown. I don't want to move off of Trey at the cutdown, and I don't want to move off of Trey at the trade deadline. And to me, if you drafted a super raw player, then don't pretend after a few years that he wasn't raw. He is raw. But don't pretend that he doesn't have great traits. He does. That's why you drafted him. All I'm saying is you started this project. Let's see it through to completion. And you have games in the present, and it's okay to prioritize whoever you think's going to win those games because there's only one team that gets the bye, and you want to have that NFC Championship game at home. And I get all the reasons. And what I got from Breer's report was that they feel like if they put Trey out there, that he would make mistakes that would cost them games early on. Do I know that that's a fact? No, but that's what I'm getting out of Breer's report. I personally, based on my eyes, I've only been to 20% of the practices. I think Darnold and Trey look pretty similar, and I would go with Trey just because of the upside. But what Breer said is they're not going with upside. They're going with who they think is more polished, and they think Darnold's the more polished player, so they're going to go with Darnold. I'm okay with that, I guess. This is it. I'm okay with going with Darnold over Trey as long as you're sticking with the Trey plan. But if you're going with Darnold over Trey, and then you're going to move off of Trey, I don't want to move off of Trey until I know what he is. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't feel comfortable about moving him until I know what he is. I don't need to see him play in week 1. If you're telling me that Sam's more, Kyle knows more about this than I do. Not only that, he's seen all the practices and been in all the meetings. So that's a huge advantage. I suspect that there's a possibility that Trey could be a bust, but guess what? I'm not ready to say that, and I'm really not ready to say that without seeing him on the field. But if he's not ready to be on the field, I don't want to give up on him until I see him on the field. And if that means I have to pay him this year, I'm paying him. And if that means that I have to pay him next year, I'm paying him. And I'll figure out the money part as long as he still wants to be here, because I still want him here. If I'm the Niners, I would go to Trey. Hey, we want you here. And Trey, do you want to be here? Yeah. All right, we're cool. Now let's figure out the money and let's move forward and let him develop as he develops. Because the bigger issue, we're all in it. We're also micro. If we back away and take a macro view of this thing, you're going to not regret drafting Trey. To me, I don't have that much regret about drafting Trey. I have a huge potential regret of getting off of Trey before his 24th birthday when Steve Young wasn't good for 7 more years after this and made it to the Hall of Fame, where Kurt Warner didn't even enter the league until 4 years after this point, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Quarterbacks, it's not like running backs. You got to think long term. And I get the sense I'm fine with Darnold, but I'm not fine with just going with Darnold and washing your hands of Trey, because I think you're going to look really, really bad on the back end. That's where I'm at.
Well, I agree with that. And I feel like also the Niners really don't have any control over a lot of that, right? They don't have any control over whether Trey wants to stay here or not, depending on how he's felt here. They don't have control on how the narrative is going to be played on starting third overall pick that's been on 2 teams with over 50 starts over your own third overall pick that you spent 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick for. Like, that's not going anywhere, right? And I understand that the Niners may have good intentions, but what's in stone is that if you play Sam over Trey, then Trey as a professional athlete has to protect his own brand, right? So if Trey as a quarterback and the number 3 overall pick, there's certain positions in Trey's enclave where he would almost be forced to ask for a trade after the season ends if they play Sam over him. Because they would know that there's no way they would pick up that 5th-year option. So he would already be shopping and essentially be auditioning for his next team.
The 5th-year option is how much?
I had it written down.
It's like, is it 15 million
15,
or something? Like
15. Yeah.
I don't know what it is actually, but I mean, I'd still pick up that option. You're paying your starter $800,000. You could pay your quarterback room. You could get another young quarterback in there and still have a very inexpensive quarterback room. I mean, what are the alternatives? You're gonna pivot off of a player that was raw because he's raw, and then what's your message to the fans? He's more raw than we thought. It's like, because then ultimately,
but that's what I mean. But honestly, Larry, that is the message. He's more raw than we thought. That's really, if you want to
take the time to develop him, then give him more time. I mean, I that would be my thing. And I mean, there's no minor leagues in the NFL. If there was, you'd send him to AAA. You'd let him play for 2 months, and then you'd call him up in December if you look great. You know what I mean?
The Niners knew that before they drafted him.
I know. They probably misinterpreted how raw of a prospect he was. I mean, Coach, you coach football, so you know that there are so many nuances to playing the position, and he could still be a great prospect, and he could really. We all saw Alex Smith at the end of his career. Alex Smith was really, really close to being a Super Bowl caliber quarterback until that leg got wrecked because he kept getting smarter and smarter and smarter. He knew where to go with the ball. Alex Smith as a rookie was like totally non-functioning. And Urban Meyer said it on draft day. He said, you know what? He's going to be completely nothing until he knows the offense. And then once he knows the offense, then you're going to start to see it. That's what he said about Smith, who he coached at Utah. He's like, he's not going to be good until he learns the offense. But once he learns the offense and knows all the nuances, he's going to be really good. And he's going to do the work. And he's smart enough and he's athletic enough that if you have patience, he's going to get there. And somebody asked me, give me your evaluation of Alex Smith. And I said, you know what? I really believe Alex Smith is going to be damn good. I said, I think he's going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but I think it's going to be, it's going to take a lot of time because I think he came out of a gimmicky system at Utah. There's going to be a lot of development. It's going to take a number of years and he's going to get there. Well, I almost was right. He almost got there. And then he got his body wrecked. I see Trey very similarly. He's a great prospect. Right now, he's a paper prospect. He's smart, checks the box. He's athletic, checks the box. He's got a strong arm, checks the box. Does he love football? He checks that box. Does he love the process of football? Check that box. All of the things that I want in a quarterback, he checks off those boxes. He just needs time. And the question is he going to get that time? And what's better? Is it better for him to go somewhere and play? Or is it better for him to sit in a great organization and develop behind the scenes? And then when he gets his chance, he's maybe the next Alex Smith. Maybe he has a Steve Young type career where the best of Trey Lance is from age 26 through 35 instead of 22. I'd hate to get rid of a 22-year-old guy or 23-year-old guy and never – before he's fully developed, and then watch him go somewhere else and develop into something, because that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I do too. I see that's basically exactly what we're. Sorry, Larry. I see that's exactly what is down the pipe for us, because the market dictates how we get to deal with these players, right? He's ours for now, right? Until he moves on and he becomes viable to other teams. I think it's rich for us to be saying that Trey has no trade value.